What's up, guys? Today I just want to share my latest creation here, which is a 3-inch micro attempt. I say attempt at long range. First of all, you must be looking at the radar in the background, my X-Lite and the R9 system, and you know that this isn't true long range at all. But I have an idea of, if I were to even switch this to Crossfire or get the bigger module, how far can I go? So what I've done here, I've managed to get a lot of flight time out of this 3-inch model here. So this guy over here, I get about 5 minutes of just hovering around on a 350 3S GNB battery. And that's okay. That's just hovering. Of course, flying, you're going to have a lot more to deal with, and your battery times are going to be much less. But I thought to myself, these motors are 1106 5500 kV, which to me it's very efficient, and it also has plenty of power. So I thought if I went smaller than that with the motors, there's a few things you have to take into consideration, and it's the props, number one, and the kV of the motors also, and of course the size of the motor. So I thought, what's the smallest motor I can get on this guy without it becoming too lethargic and unable to fly properly? So I tried 1104. These are 1104 motors. I looked for the lowest kV I could find, which was 4200. And these are the AOK Fly motors. I don't know how they will hold up. They've held up pretty well so far because they're very cheaply made. It feels cheaply made. The bearings are kind of small. I mean, they're okay. They don't rattle or anything, so they actually work pretty well. And this build actually surprised me because I expected it to be very underpowered. And I mean, you do feel that it doesn't have as much power as this guy over here. But basically, yeah, it flies. It flies very well. And the biggest part of this, I got to cruise on that same battery. The 3S 550 GNB, I got 10 minutes of flight time. And that's not just hovering. I was doing a slight bit of punching over the hose. Of course, that time is going to vary. Now, if you're in a real situation where you're fighting wind and you're actually moving forward like this, you're going to have to apply more thrust, because that thrust that keeps you just hovering is now going to be shared between forward motion. So you have to add more thrust. And I know that if I were to probably do more acro stuff with this, like moving forward to punch over something, you need that extra thrust that the 1106 will probably give you. So this is strictly maybe just for range flying. And then I thought, are the motors going to be powerful enough to fight like wind? Because you don't want to be going over a range and it's like shaking around because the motors can't spin up fast enough to catch the PID loop. So I haven't actually done any long range flying with this, guys. Another thing I'd like to mention, if you are using this R9 system, is that it tends to be a little bit strange, because the RSSI readings, they drop really quickly in the beginning. This is what I realized, that I would like to see like 90. If I had 90% RSSI at maybe 1 kilometer or something, I wouldn't feel so bad. But it drops off really quickly in the beginning, from my testing, and I've seen others online have the same thing, and then it will stick around maybe 70 or something for the longest while until you reach out to a kilometer, and I'm sure you can go way beyond that. The antenna mounting here, I plan to put this here, sticking up this way. Of course, it's hard to take off and land like that, so this is just here for testing purposes, but on a real scenario, I'm going to mount it like that. My GPS, I put in the back because you want it as far away as possible from the VTX. Now, this is only running 200 milliwatts. That can get you very far. It's kind of just like a theory thing that I want to put into into actual existence and see how it performs. So having the GPS makes me feel a lot safer, knowing that if something goes wrong, I can just flick that switch and it will, well, try to come home. I think what it does when you flick on that GPS, it will power you up to a certain height, and then it will come back. And sometimes I think if you're out that far and it's holding the throttle trying to get up to that height, it might kill the battery before you could even get back home. So yeah, it's a little bit of a a thing that really needs testing. So I don't have the space to test this. I really don't. I don't want to fly this over people's homes. I don't really want to fly it over the ocean because I don't want it to fall before I get at least some testing in, you know. So far it's been pretty good. But the biggest thing on this, guys, is the fact that you can run these very low kV 1104 motors, and it really flies nice. I mean, the control I have just cruising around, being able to pop up over little objects, is very, very, very nice. It just feels soft. It has this great feel to it. And I can show you some flights here. You know, it can really zip around for 1104s on a 3-inch prop. And a lot of people might think, oh, that's not the most efficient prop. But what I have found is if you put this prop on a very high kV motor, it's not going to have much efficiency at all because of the pitch of the prop is so high that, you know, it actually needs to spin slower to create some good thrust. But if you have a heavy setup with high kV motors, then you really, really are going to really punish those motors trying to spin a prop that has such a high pitch. So something like this that's very light, a steep pitch and low kV works very well. So that's just my knowledge I'd like to share to the world. Don't mount your receivers like that. That's not good. I have to probably secure that somewhere. I mean, it's not going anywhere, but yeah, it's not going to stay there. Anyway, guys, I'm just here showing you some of this footage. Me flying around. I will show you my 10-minute flight. You can see here, I'm not going to show the whole thing, I'll just show you the end, and you can see that I did manage to pull 10 minutes out of this very small 3S 550 milliamp battery. Now I plan to run this on 850 3S. When I tried the 850 on the 1106 build, it ran for maybe 7 minutes, that's kind of cool. I mean, you can do a lot of cruising with 7 minutes, but I have not tried the 850 on this one as yet because I feel it might be a little bit heavy. I don't know if I'm going to get that much gain out of it, but of course, by using smaller motors, you really, really reduce the weight as well. So, you know, there's a lot of physics going on here where, you know, you might feel that those motors aren't powerful enough, but, you know, with the less weight, it actually feels pretty good, you know. And even when I added the GPS kind of on something like this, it's weighty. It's 5 grams. I mean, I don't know, there must be some kind of module out there that will come in the future that won't have this ceramic crap that makes it so heavy. There must be another way of making that somehow. But anyway, that's probably to come in the future. We're going to look back at this video and think, look at those big old clunky GPS modules. Ha ha ha. Anyway, guys, that's all I had to share for today. When I get some true long range footage, I'll probably point back to this video to show how I built this guy. So maybe I will do one with the Caddx Turtle. The Caddx Turtle weighs a lot more, by the way. This HD system is just 720. It is less than half the weight of a Caddx Turtle, so trying to keep the weight really low while still having onboard recording that's better than a SD DVR, I think this does a very good job. So anyway, guys, that's it for now. And I hope I could enlighten you in some way or the other if you plan to do something like this, or if you, like me, like cruising around. So